Today we're going deep into the story of racist gang that attacks black innocent prisoner unaware he is a legendary Delta Force commander. John Reaper Wickham, a decorated Delta Force commander with a chest full of medals and a past shrouded in classified operations, finds himself stripped of his freedom and dignity. Make sure to subscribe and follow and put me in the comment section from where are watching to see if John survives. He's been framed for a crime he didn't commit, a conspiracy orchestrated by shadowy figures who want him silenced. Entering the brutal confines of Blackgate Penitentiary, he's just another black man in orange, a target for the prison's most vicious predators, the Aryan Brotherhood. Led by the ruthless enforcer, Kruger, they see him as easy prey. Kruger and his gang immediately begin to test John, throwing racial slurs and shoves his way, expecting him to cower. John, haunted by the ghosts of his past and determined to survive, tries to remain invisible, knowing his skills could paint a target on his back and ruin his attempt to prove his innocence. But when the gang targets a vulnerable young inmate under John's protection, the sleeping giant begins to stir. How long can Reaper keep his true identity a secret? And what will happen when the beast within is finally unleashed? The attack on the young inmate, Miguel, is the spark that ignites the inferno within John Reaper Wickham. He can no longer stand idly by. The first strike is swift and brutal. A disarm here, a broken nose there, all calculated to send a message. Leave Miguel alone. Kruger and the Aryan Brotherhood are furious. They can't let this insult stand. Kruger orders an all-out assault on John in the prison yard. What Kruger doesn't realize is that he's not dealing with an ordinary inmate. As the gang swarms him, John's Delta Force training kicks in. He moves with a speed and precision that defies belief, turning the yard into a combat zone. Each strike is precise and devastating, a symphony of controlled violence. Guards watch in disbelief as the legendary Reaper dismantles the Aryan Brotherhood, one bone-shattering blow at a time. But his display of power attracts unwanted attention, not just from the remaining gang members, but from Warden Thompson, a corrupt official deeply entwined in the conspiracy that landed John in Blackgate. Thompson realizes John is a far greater threat than he anticipated. He plans to silence him permanently. What will Thompson do next? Make to subscribe and follow to find out what Thompson is planning. Warden Thompson, shaken by John's display of power, wastes no time. He can't risk Reaper exposing his illicit operations within Blackgate. Thompson orchestrates a setup, planting drugs in John's cell and framing him for inciting a riot. Thrown into solitary confinement, John is cut off from the outside world, vulnerable and alone. But Thompson underestimated John's resourcefulness. Even in the darkness of solitary, John begins to unravel the warden's network of corruption. He uses his military training to communicate with other inmates through the prison walls, gathering evidence of Thompson's drug smuggling and illegal gambling rings. Meanwhile, Kruger, humiliated by his defeat, plots his revenge. He knows John is in solitary, weakened and isolated. This is his chance to reclaim his dominance and finally put Reaper down for good. But Kruger doesn't realize that John is far from broken. He's biding his time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike back and expose Thompson's crimes. Will John escape solitary and expose the warden, or will Kruger get his revenge first? The clock is ticking. The tension in Blackgate reaches a boiling point. John, having gathered enough evidence of Thompson's corruption from within solitary, engineers his escape. Using a combination of cunning brute force and the unexpected assistance of some newly allied inmates who've also been wronged by Thompson, he breaks free. Kruger, seeing the chaos erupting, seizes the opportunity to confront John. Their rematch is brutal, a savage dance of desperation and pent-up rage in the prison's underbelly. However, this time John is prepared. He uses his knowledge of the prison's layout, gleaned during his time in solitary, to turn the environment against Kruger and finally ends his reign of terror. Meanwhile, John's allies on the outside, a sympathetic journalist he managed to contact, are preparing to expose Warden Thompson's crimes to the world. Thompson, realizing his empire is crumbling, attempts to flee, taking a hostage as insurance. John, fueled by a burning desire for justice, must now stop Thompson from escaping and ensure that the truth is revealed. Will John succeed in bringing Thompson to justice? Or we will corrupt Wyden slip away, Blackgate to rot. The final confrontation between John and Warden Thompson is explosive. Thompson, desperate and cornered, uses Miguel as a human shield, attempting to escape through the prison's main gate. John faces a moral dilemma. Take the shot and risk harming the innocent boy, or let Thompson escape and allow his corruption to continue. John, with his Delta Force precision, manages to disarm Thompson and rescue Miguel without firing a lethal shot. With Thompson apprehended and the evidence of his crimes exposed to the world, Blackgate Penitentiary is thrown into chaos. Federal investigators descend upon the prison, arresting Thompson and his cronies. John, finally exonerated, walks out of Blackgate a free man, his name cleared and his honor restored. He's hailed as a hero, but he knows the fight for justice is far from over. He vows to use his skills and experience to expose corruption wherever he finds it, ensuring that no one else suffers the same fate he did. But will his actions now paint a larger target on his back? Make sure you subscribe and follow to see what's next for John and his fight for justice.